Hello and welcome to this very special Google Hangout that we're doing. I have got a special guest on today, and just before we crack into my special guest and why she is so special, I just want to introduce myself. My name's Jenny Kovacs, and we're going to spend the next sort of 30 minutes or so just really introducing you to some of the people who have crossed my life path. People that I think are really, really special people, people whose work that I love, and the person that we have today is the lovely Jane Tai. Now, why is she here, and why am I speaking to her, and why am I sharing her with you? Well, I'm sharing her with you because she is my special guest and the author of a fantastic book called Today's Dream, Tomorrow's Reality. Jane Tai is also the creator of the Mind Makeover, and quite often she'll pose the question as to, whether sometimes you've got that feeling that there's more to life than this. Sometimes you might be stuck and you want to live you feel like you're kind of stuck at a crossroads. You're flailing around, you're not really knowing what to do next or which way to turn. Jane is absolutely gorgeous with working with people to help them through that. It might be that you're stymied by procrastination or lack of confidence or energy or motivation, and regardless of the reason you think that is, Jane's Mind Makeover really does have the answer. So we're going to chat. I'm going to ask her some questions, and really, I just want to introduce you to the lovely Jane Tai, because let me tell you a little bit about Jane. Today, some of Jane's clients have called her a shepherdess. Sometimes they've called her a lighthouse or even a Zen masteress, and I actually call her the mind mastery wizard, because she is so great with working with that. Now, Jane's the sort of person that even if you were the Prime Minister, if you're lost or looking for somebody, you can completely trust her. And I've had such beautiful experiences of that with Jane too. Jane is the sort of person that will help you, even when you just don't know where to go or what to do. Jane, it's like she takes you by the hand and puts you back on the path. She doesn't yank you, she leads you there very, very gently. Now, there was a time in Jane's life when she was trapped in a career. She's a high-flying lawyer. And on the surface, she had it all. She had the prestige, she had the house in London, she had a really jet-set lifestyle. But the reality was that she herself was stuck. She was a family breadwinner. She was living other people's expectations, and she couldn't see a way out. But Jane knew in her heart that the career wasn't her. That feeling when you've got every fibre of your being that's screaming, "Get me out of here! I can't do this anymore." Well, Jane didn't just know, she didn't know what to do, and she felt like she was sinking. So she knew that this wasn't for her, and she knew in her soul that there was something else, something that she was supposed to be doing. And, that to me really sums up, I guess, why Jane is so great at helping other people through these crossroads as well. So today I'm delighted to introduce to you the lovely Jane Tai. She's found her own true path, and she's also discovered the hard way of how to master her own mindset. So Jane is now a specialist in mindset mentor. So she works with the most exclusive clients, and she works with a passion and a very intuitive ability to be able to bring other people back on track. And as I mentioned at the start of this, she's a proud author of Today's Dream and Tomorrow's Reality, and the creator of the Mind Makeover. So Jane, if you ever get the opportunity to work personally and privately with her, she really shares practical, hands-on ways that you can start to take control of your own life and your true purpose and learn the mastery of your own emotions. So with that, I'm going to introduce you and hand you over to the lovely Jane Tai.
Thank you, Jenny. That was a wonderful introduction. I think you've said it all already.
Oh, there's so much more. I know there's so much more. So thank you so much for coming along today, Jane. I feel really blessed, and I feel really excited as well, because we've known each other for a few years now.
Yes.
I think our paths are kind of like crossed and weaved and we've worked together and we've done different elements of stuff together, but we're always around each other.
Yes.
So I'm going to start off by asking you a question, because I know this sounds a silly question, but in my mind, sometimes when we think about mindset mastery, people have their own ideas of what that is. So what is mindset mastery, and why is it so important to master your mindset?
Most people, Jenny, go through life thinking that their thoughts are their thoughts and there's nothing they can do about it. And that is just so not true. And that's what I had to learn the hard way when I really loved the way you described how I got out of law. That really wasn't me, but all the thoughts that were going around in my head at that time, I didn't know that I could change them and kind of take control of them. So really, mind mastery is just about, I mean, the most important part of it is knowing that you can change your thoughts, and when you change your thoughts, everything else starts to change. I was thinking this morning about that poem Invictus, and that phrase, "I'm master of my fate and captain of my soul." And I was thinking about that, and I love that quote. But there's a bit missing, because if you can't master your mind, you can't master your fate, and you're not captain of your soul. So that's why, to me, it's so important to understand, first of all, that you can, and then to have the skills, really. They are basically just skills that you need to learn to take control of your mind and master it and be in control of it. But it goes deeper than that, but perhaps we'll come on to that bit in a minute.
Okay, that's a really succinct and really, really great explanation, because there's so many myths out there about what mindset mastery is and what it does and that kind of stuff. So can you give us
talk about it, I mean, there's a lot of people who use it as well, like it's not to be confused with mind manipulation and tricks of the mind. It's really about mastering your own mind, not anybody else. This is about you and being in control of your own mind and knowing how to train it and how to rewire what's going on in your subconscious mind. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, because there's a lot of there are a lot of myths about mindset, and normally it's something that's done to you, not
exactly. Yes.
I love that. So can you give us a bit of background? I know that I kind of whizzed through that really quickly in the introduction, but can you give us a bit of background about how you got involved in mind mastery?
Yeah, actually, when I was being a lawyer, at the really worst point, and I can remember getting ready for work, and I was drying my hair, and I'd be silently screaming at the mirror, "I can't do it, I can't go on, just get me out of here, something." So something did get me out of there. I got ME, and I was off work for about 10 months. Now, whilst I was off work with ME, I had a very kind of strange experience. I was seeing a counsellor, and I'd had this fear around me for years and years around a friend of mine who'd been murdered when I was at university. And when I was having this counselling, that issue came up, and the counsellor did something, and I can't really describe what she did. All I can remember is like yellow smoke coming out of the end of my fingertips. And then this fear that had been with me for about 10 years just went. It just completely evaporated, and I was just like, "Oh my God, what did you do? I can't believe." I couldn't even talk about this. I couldn't talk about my friend. I couldn't talk about my fear, nothing. It was just, my heart would race, I'd sweat. Now it's fine, I can talk about it. And I was just so fascinated that in 2 or 3 minutes, she changed something in my mind that had been there, dominating my life for about 10 years at that time. And I was so fascinated. Well, I've got to learn this stuff. I've got to know if you can control your mind to that extent and change it and get rid of those fears and those anxieties, then I've got to know how to do this. So that's how I really got into it. And yeah.
That sounds an amazing experience. Would you say that it was that point that led you to become the expert, or was there something else? Or
that was the point, really, because that's when I started learning and learning and reading and experimenting, and there was nobody around at that time to teach me, so I had to learn it all myself the hard way. and I think it's that really led me to being the expert, because I've had to learn it for myself, not from someone teaching me.
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. I know that going on from that, you've obviously, like you say, you're self-taught, and you not only self-taught where you just kind of read a book and that was it, but you used it to master your own mindset and subsequently then spread your ripples far and wide.
Yeah.
I know that clients have called you lots of very nice things like a shepherdess or a lighthouse or a Zen masteress. How did that come about?
Well, I think it's as you say, it's people who are feeling completely lost and completely stuck. And I have this ability to, I think probably partly my training as a lawyer, I can see through swathes of information and really zone in and get to the nub of the problem. And when I can do that, then it's a case of me kind of like just leading them onto the path. And it's such a revelation to them, because when you're so stuck in your own stuff, you can't see what's going on in your unconscious mind and what the blocks are that are stopping you. But I can see them from the outside and know how to get them back on the path. So I think that's where it's come from.
Oh, wow. And there is something about you, I know from personal experience, that when somebody like speaks to you, and I know that when I spoke to you, it doesn't matter what the subject is. In fact, it doesn't even matter how sensitive I feel the subject is. There's something about you that's like you're like a security, you're like a safe place. And I know that that's probably what's also helped you to attract the high-level experts and those people that like those clients that you can never speak about, because it doesn't matter where you are in your life and who you are, as you say, from the Prime Minister to whoever, there's a certain thing about not only that you help guide or lead the way, that you're a really safe place and safe person to speak to, and you can speak to you about anything really easily. So I just want to put that in there because it's true.
I think also part of that comes from the fact that when I look back over my life, it's very rare that I get a client that I haven't experienced, at least in some form, shape or form, what they're going through. So I really connect with people, and I have this real deep empathy and understanding of what they're going through, because I've been through it myself. Maybe not exactly the same, but I've been through something that I can really relate to with that. So yeah, thank you for that.
That's excellent. And talking about that, because people say, oh, but I'm stuck in this thing and you don't know what it's like and all that kind of stuff. Would you say that your methods would work for anybody in any area?
Yes. Yes, and that's a categorical yes, because so much of it is about training your mind and undoing the things that are holding you back. The way I look at it, we're all born as these beautiful little babies, and we're like a blank slate, and all you have at that point is your soul. To me, there are two parts to this. There's your soul, and then there's the stuff that you learn. And the stuff you learn is put into you in those early years. And a young child is too young to judge what they're being told, what's going into them. So they just absorb and accept it all. As children, that's what we do. So you come out with all these thoughts and beliefs and values that aren't even yours. Other people put them in there. So to me, it's all about stripping that back, getting in touch with the real you, the soul, what's the essence of you, and getting rid of all of the beliefs and the thoughts and the values that aren't you and that you don't want in there, the ones that are holding you back. So that goes across the board in any area, in any problem. Yeah.
Have you ever experienced then where almost like people are resistant to that? Maybe they've held on to something for so long that they haven't wanted to give it up, or anything like that?
It can be really scary. In any change, there's a sacrifice. Even if the sacrifice is just giving up what you know and the security of what you know and stepping outside. So you've got to have that vision of the greater you and the greater life that you could have. And it is scary to leave what you've known behind. I mean, leaving law was incredibly scary for me, and so many people just couldn't understand why I was doing it. I was made to feel small, you're not good enough, you couldn't cut it as a lawyer, all these sorts of things people throw at you. So it was a really scary thing to do, but I had a bigger vision and I knew that wasn't in line with my soul. So it's, yes, people do resist it, but when they've got that vision, and that's also part of what I do is get them in touch with that vision, because when you've got that vision there, then you can break through that fear and that wanting to stay safe and stay small and stay where you are.
That sounds amazing. That sounds absolutely amazing. So if you had like one secret to give away about mindset mastery, what would that be?
The secret really is that you can change it. And that's it. It's about not giving up. It's about being persistent. It's about acknowledging that this is something that anybody can do. You just need to know how to do it. You also need some help, because we don't know what's going on in our own unconscious minds. That's the problem that most people face, and that's why people, they know what they want and they try, but they keep falling back to the same place because they don't know. You can't know what's in your unconscious mind because it's unconscious. How can you know about it? All you know is you're not getting the results that you want, and it usually takes somebody else coming from the outside. That's not to say that I go digging around deep inside people and looking for causes, because I don't. It's far more about looking forward and what you want, and then just letting go of the stuff that's holding you back. So that really is the one secret, is that you're not stuck, actually. You're never stuck.
I think what's so interesting about that is, you know, you're right, this could work for anybody, anywhere. What I'm thinking about as you speak about the one secret and all of that kind of stuff is, clearly I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, and it's true to say that if you want to undergo a really intense personal development program, start a business. It's so funny because you kind of go into it thinking, oh, I don't know how to run my own business, you know, or I think I'll make a pretty good job of this, I'm really good at this particular thing. And then slowly, it's like, to use a really old metaphor, but the layers of the onion start to unfold, don't they? And you realise that you're good at your stuff, but for some people it's about, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. You know, other people it's about, I'm good at what I do, but not running the business. And then you start to go on to the layers. You know, I had a conversation recently with somebody who was really scared of making phone calls. And didn't realise it was a fear until I said, pick up the phone, start ringing people, start ringing your clients and connect with them that way. And all this stuff came out. I couldn't possibly do that. I couldn't do that. It would be seen as this, it would be seen as that. And it occurred to me that this person had a fear. Now, out in the world, sometimes people will call it a phobia, but sometimes it's not quite a phobia, it's just a fear. And as you say, it's a thing that stops you from moving forward. And I know that you're really great with the big areas of life, be it relationships, be it health and everything else. But I also know about you that you're really great with the business aspect of that. You had a pretty... Do you mind sharing your amazing stories from some of your business wins and things that you've done?
Sorry, it kind of cut out a bit there.
Sorry, I'll repeat that. That's just what you've said in the last question about the one secret, really pointed to me around the stuff that comes up for people in business.
Yes.
I know that you've had some huge wins and some huge successes, you know, in your business life as well. Do you mind sharing an element of kind of, you know, how you've expanded businesses and some of the stuff you've done?
Yes, I mean, it's, I'm going back a bit here, but when I left law, I worked for the Law Society out in Hong Kong. I lived out there for 12 years, and I started to see, I was working in the training area and continuing professional development, and I started to see a niche in the market that wasn't being filled, and eventually I left and I set up my own company. And up until that point, I'd never thought about having my own business. I didn't even know I was entrepreneurial at all. But that company took a 40% market share within 3 months. And and we maintained it. I think I had the company about 4 years, and I had competitors coming in. They were copying all my stuff, all the training courses I put together. They just copy them and nick my speakers. In fact, I was talking to my youngest son about this the other day, because he does karate, and he sometimes gets annoyed when the younger kids copy his. He does the bow staff, which is this stick thing that he twiddles around. I shouldn't say twiddles around, he strikes it around. And he sometimes gets upset, and I was saying, well, you know, copying is the sincerest form of flattery. And I was talking to him about how my courses would be copied, and how it was always staying one step ahead of the game. And yes, people may copy what you do, but you've got to keep reinventing and reinventing and being really creative and going forwards, and also doing it better than anybody else is doing it. And that's how I managed to keep my company staying ahead of the game all that time.
That's so true. I mean, it's almost like a subject for another hangout.
Yeah.
I feel like that creativity, actually, for people like you who are very creative and able to stay at the top of their game in things like that, if somebody copies you, I think what they don't get, as the person that copies, they don't get the mindset, they don't get the foundations of what's underneath that. So that can only float for so long before they get stuck. Whereas with people like you, you know, you can say, okay, if somebody's copied this and made this commonplace, you've got the creativity just to go deeper and to do something different, or to change tack and for it to make sense. And I think that's often missed.
Bringing you through with it. So when you're copying something, there's none of you in it. It really is, and a lot of people copy because they don't really know who they are and what of themselves they need to bring through. So that's a really important piece of it. When you really know yourself, you know your values, that's when you can bring that through and create your own stuff and do it your own way and stay ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's so true. One thing that I wanted to ask you about as well, because you've just got so many facets and really interesting pieces around the mindset. You authored a book, Today's Dream, Tomorrow's Reality.
Yes.
Can I ask you a bit about that book? What led you to write that book, and what's it about?
Oh, Jenny, this is going to make you laugh. It was a challenge. My then husband, I was saying, I could write a book. It's easy to write a book, you know. I've got all this stuff I could write about. And he said, you couldn't write a book. It would take ages. I said, I could write it in a night. And he just laughed. So I stayed up that night and I wrote the book. Admittedly, it was only about 20 pages at first. It was just kind of like the outline. But I was just so full of all these ideas. It was like it was just all there, just waiting to be splurged out. And I just spent that whole night and I just wrote it in one go. The whole lot just came out. And even the bits that I've since, you know, expanded on and developed a little bit, it was all there. It was almost like what I wrote was almost like the notes that enabled me to just expand it. So it was really strange, actually, how it was just all there, just waiting to come out. And it was just that challenge. If someone challenges me to something, I can't resist a challenge. I have to go, but I have to prove I can do it. So that's how it came about.
And having written that book in that way, and having had people kind of read it and have their own light bulb moments from that book, if there was one thing you could say to somebody that's thinking, oh, you know, I'm gonna read that book, if there's one wish that you could deliver with that book, what would it be?
Well, I was telling you the other day about a friend of mine who just read it, and she came to see me, and she said that book changed my life. And it was just one little bit, just one small phrase in there that made her think in a different way. And I think it's so easy with all these books. There's so much information in all these books, and what I've tried to do is really distill that one into something that's very manageable, doable. I've kind of put all the best bits in there that make it something that's really possible to do. And my wish is that anybody reading that, if they can just come out with one thing that's going to change their life, then that book's done its job. They don't have to follow every single thing in there. If they come out with just one thing.
Yeah.
But that said, she got that change because she really thought about something I was saying, and there was a little exercise, and she did it, and that produced the result. So it's a workbook as well as just a book to read. It's something that you have to do, not just read.
Now that sounds amazing. So if people want to get hold of that book, where would they get it from? How do they get hold of it?
Yeah, it's on my website, which is www.janetai.co.uk, and if you go to the products tab at the top, then there's a link there to buy it.
Lovely, fantastic. So as well as the book and as well as the Mindset Mastery, how do people tend to work with you? Do they tend to work in groups or one-to-one, privately? How does that tend to work?
My work is one-to-one, privately. This is intensely personal stuff, so I don't tend to work with groups because I really want to go deep with the individual, and because everybody is so different, and a lot of the issues they're coming with are so personal and confidential that it's not really appropriate to work in groups. I'm thinking about maybe doing something at some point if there's a way I feel I could get the information across, kind of like with the book, I suppose, that people can do certain bits for themselves, but I prefer really working one-to-one with people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you got any other tips before I'm also going to ask you how people can work with you one-to-one, but I'm just wondering, if somebody needs to stay on top of their mindset, have you got any tips or anything that you could offer?
I think the first thing is awareness. You've got to be aware of what's going on in your mind, of the chatter. That's the key thing that I start with people, is just listen. Listen to what you're saying. Listen to what's going on in your mind. I do it myself. I'm cooking when I drop something, I think, oh, you stupid woman. And I think, hang on, I'm not stupid. You have to have that awareness to keep catching yourself and pulling yourself back. And you also, the kind of second point to that is really feeling what you feel in your body. When you have that awareness of what you're thinking, what's it doing in your body, because that's really your guidance system, the physical feelings in your body. So getting in touch with those physical feelings in your body and just staying tuned in, staying connected. There's also the whole spiritual bit with your higher guidance and staying connected with that. But even if you're not of that spiritual bent, just being aware of what you're thinking and how it's making you feel, physically feel, and a lot of people don't get that. But that's really the key thing.
Excellent. That sounds so amazing. I could continue asking you 101 questions. I won't, because I know your time's precious as well. So where can people find out more information about the Mindset Mastery and working with you?
Again, it's on my website, which is www.janetai.co.uk. I also have a Facebook page, which is just Jane Tai, and there's a lot of stuff on there, and they can connect with me, and you can subscribe through that or through the website. There's a subscription link on both of those, so you can sign up and get newsletters and find out what I'm doing, and yeah.
Okay, and I'll also make sure the links are put in underneath this video as well, so that people can just click on those. And so if people want to contact you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Well, if they're on Facebook, then the best way is just to private message me. That's the best way, and I'll answer those messages. And if you're coming through the website, there's a contact page, and there's just a little form on the contact page to fill in and just say, you know, I'm interested in talking to you, contact me. And what I do is I'll set up a little free consultation for about 30 minutes to talk through, see what the issues is, see how I can help the person.
Okay, that sounds amazing. So I want to say thank you so much, because one of the things that I'm known for is visibility, and for me it feels like it's more strongly about other people becoming really visible and really seen. And part of the reason why I wanted to put this group of interviews together is because there are so many amazing people out there, some of which are already in like the limelight or the spotlight, but there's so many amazing people that aren't in the spotlight, and you're like a best kept secret, so I've just exposed you.
No, thank you for the opportunity. It's wonderful.
No, it's been great talking, and I could ask you 101 questions and absolutely blow your head, but I won't. just to say that if you want to find out more about what Jane does, have a look in the box under this video. There'll be links to her Facebook page, and there'll be links to her website. And you know, if you're not sure, you know, how Jane does some really great videos, and she puts some really great posts on her Facebook page, it's worth going over and just liking that page so that you can get that information. And then, as she suggests, you know, make contact with her, because, you know, from personal experience, there's nothing too big, too small, too insignificant. The thing that I would say is, don't sit in where you are for too long. The minute you notice something, contact Jane, because she's really great at being able to elicit what's really going on for you, and to stop the struggle, to stop the stuckness, and to put you back on the right path. So thank you so much for today, Jane, and I look forward to seeing you out on the offline world, in the flesh as well. But thank you so much for sharing your book and for sharing your Mindset Mastery stuff. So until next time, I will see you again soon. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jenny.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.